You lie down. You close your eyes. You're exhausted. Your body craves rest. Your mind begs for peace. But sleep won't come. You toss and turn, flip pillows, change positions, regulate your breathing. Try not to think about anything. But it's useless. An invisible restlessness follows you like a muffled scream. The truth is, your insomnia isn't just fatigue. It's an alarm, a signal. And that signal is telling you, you are running away from something you need to see. Jordan Peterson would say that insomnia is often the soul trying to draw your attention to a truth you insist on ignoring. It's the price you pay for living in contradiction to what you need to face. Maybe you're living a routine you can't stand anymore. Maybe you're lying to yourself about your relationship, your job, your dreams, or even who you are. And while during the day you rush, busy yourself, distract yourself, at night, in the silence, the truth reappears, and she screams. Insomnia is like a door that refuses to close. It leaves ajar everything you spent the whole day trying to push under the rug. You think, why am I so tired and yet I can't sleep? The answer may hurt, because you're not just physically tired. You're emotionally exhausted from maintaining a life that doesn't speak to your essence. And this isn't about blame, it's about clarity. Jordan Peterson often says that the human mind can't tolerate contradiction for long without a breakdown. And insomnia is one of the first breakdowns. Silent but persistent. It doesn't matter if you're in New York, São Paulo, or Lisbon. At night, when everything goes silent outside, something inside you starts speaking. The problem is, you don't want to hear it, because what's being said is too real, too deep, too uncomfortable. But ignoring it doesn't make it go away. It makes it worse. Have you ever noticed how insomnia doesn't just start? It builds up. It arises as a natural consequence of many nights spent going to bed with unresolved issues, unheard conversations, swallowed truths, stifled emotions. And when this happens night after night, what you're experiencing isn't just difficulty sleeping, it's a symbolic process of emotional collapse. Peterson talks about the importance of order, of putting your house in order, of facing chaos with courage. And what is insomnia if not an inner chaos you didn't dare organize during the day? At night, without distractions, chaos reigns. You can take medication, play relaxing music, and practice breathing techniques. All of these can help. But if you don't confront the source of your anxiety, sleep will continue to be a struggle. Because sleep requires trust. It requires surrender. And it's impossible to surrender when you're constantly on alert against your own truths. Here's the question you need to ask yourself today. What is my insomnia trying to show me? If you have the courage to listen to that answer, maybe, just maybe, tonight will be different. You spent the whole day distracting yourself. You worked, scrolled through your feed, chased deadlines, did what you had to do. Maybe you even managed to laugh at something, exchange automatic words with someone, feign normalcy. But now you're alone, lying down. Everything around you is quiet, except your mind. And that's where the chase begins. Thoughts you didn't want to have, memories that keep coming back, situations that have already happened but won't leave your mind, plans that scare you, worries that can't be resolved with logic. It's like your mind rises up against you when you need it most in silence. But why does this happen? Jordan Peterson would say this is a result of the accumulation of internal disorganization. The human mind is symbolic, and it hates emptiness. If you don't fill that space with truth, clarity, and structure, it will fill it with fear, noise, and distortion. During the day, you mask this with activity. But at night, in the darkness, the theater ends. A restless mind at bedtime is a direct reflection of your relationship with truth, with your responsibility, with the emotions you avoid. You're not just overthinking, you're running poorly. Look, it's not normal for your mind to activate a sequence of distressing thoughts as if they were automatic commands when you go to bed. This isn't just anxiety. It's a sign that something in your lifestyle is completely out of alignment with what you truly need. And the more you try to push these thoughts away, the closer they come. Because they don't want to be ignored, they want to be heard. They want to be understood. They want you to take on something you've been putting off for too long. It's painful to admit that you may be being forced into maturity. But the truth is, nighttime mental discomfort is the result of a disconnect between your external world and your internal world. Peterson reminds us that chaos arises when you abandon the responsibility of confronting your own life honestly. And the price of that is the collapse of your sleep. Ask yourself now, why do your thoughts become more cruel when you are alone? Are you being honest with yourself about the direction your life is taking? Are you listening to the signals your body and soul are trying to send? Or are you pretending everything is fine because you don't have the courage to face the depths of the abyss you feel? The night-stalking mind is actually your psyche's desperate attempt to wake you up before you fall deeper into illness. It's like she's saying, hey, look at this, you're ignoring too much, deceiving yourself too much, carrying too much weight. And the body responds, then I won't let you sleep in peace. You don't need magic formulas to silence your mind. You need truth, clarity, alignment. And that only happens when you sit down, face it, and name what's bothering you. The next time you lie down, try not to run away. Let it come. Listen to what your mind is trying to tell you. She might be trying to save you. There's a decision you've been putting off. Maybe you haven't said it outright yet, but you feel it. Deep down you know, there's something that needs to be chosen or closed, and you just haven't been able to do it. And that's when your mind goes into a nocturnal meltdown. Because as you run from that decision, your body feels it, your soul cries out, and your anxiety grows. Insomnia is a cry. Make a decision. Now. Jordan Peterson often talks about modern human paralysis when faced with responsibility. Making a decision means committing. It means sacrificing possibilities. And most importantly, it means facing the consequences. That's why so many people prefer to remain paralyzed, even if this paralysis costs them their own peace. Maybe you're in a relationship that no longer makes sense, or in a job that makes you sick, or in a city that takes you away from who you are. Maybe you have a dream that you know you need to start realizing, but fear is holding you back. Or maybe you're living with someone who hurts you and you stay there, silent, pretending you don't see it. What happens is that you try to move on with your life as if this issue were resolved, but it isn't. And every night, the truth comes back like a hurricane. You can't sleep because deep down you know you're betraying yourself by avoiding this confrontation. Running away from an important decision doesn't postpone suffering. It prolongs it. It amplifies it. Peterson is incisive. When you avoid necessary confrontation, the world becomes an increasingly chaotic place. And chaos, when not confronted voluntarily, becomes inevitable and destructive. It's as if your psyche is saying, if you don't have the courage to act, I'll remind you of it until the last minute before your body collapses. And it does this through anxiety, tachycardia, muscle tension, insomnia. Because what cannot be resolved with consciousness, the body tries to resolve with symptoms. Let's be honest, you already know what you need to do. It's not a lack of information. It's a lack of courage. Courage to break, to end, to begin again. Courage to disappoint someone, if that is necessary to avoid being even more disappointed in yourself. And here's a crucial point. Not deciding is also a decision, and it is almost always the worst one. You're waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect sign, absolute certainty, but that moment never comes. And with each day you put it off, your mind takes a toll. Your energy wanes. Your sleep disappears. That's why today, here and now, you need to stop and face this question. What important decision have you been avoiding and is robbing you of your peace? Write it down. Speak it out loud. Reflect with brutal honesty. Peterson would say, the responsibility you most avoid is the key to the transformation you most desire. And if you've already understood this, it's time to act. If this resonates with you in any way, please subscribe and like. This makes this video reach someone who may be desperate right now, and you will have been a part of it. Have you ever felt like you were living a life that wasn't yours? As if you were playing a role, wearing an outfit that doesn't match, forcing a smile that doesn't even convince you anymore? Yes, many people are like this, trapped in versions of themselves that were created to please, survive, or fit in. But there comes a time when the cost of this becomes unsustainable. And the first sign of this internal collapse is the disappearance of sleep. The mind doesn't rest when you're living a lie. Because even if you can fool others during the day, at night, when you lay your head on the pillow, the only company you have left is you, and you know. Jordan Peterson argues that psychic integrity requires coherence between what one thinks, feels, and does. When this coherence is broken, When one experiences something that does not represent the soul's truth, the mind begins to experience symbolic collapse. And this collapse manifests as insomnia, anxiety, emptiness, and a profound tiredness of existing. You can try to rationalize, but I need this job. I can't get out of this relationship now. It's just a phase. But your body knows when you're being honest and when you're just silently betraying yourself. There is a quote from Peterson that resonates strongly here. If you lie to yourself, you become someone who lives in hell, even if the outside world thinks you're fine. And the hell of self-deception has a modern name: emotional insomnia. Have you ever stopped to think about how much effort you spend to keep this lie going? How many times do you swallow what you feel? How many times do you say yes when you want to say no? How many times do you pretend to be happy, fulfilled, at peace when inside you're on the verge of a breakdown? This internal division, this chasm between who you are and who you pretend to be, is what prevents sleep. Because sleeping is a surrender, and no one can surrender when they're carrying a character. The restless mind is demanding authenticity from you. She is saying, come back to yourself. Stop betraying your own values. Stop pretending everything is okay. Be honest, at least with yourself. And maybe you think you don't have a choice, but you do. You can always choose to be true, even if it hurts, even if it dismantles some structures, because a lie, sooner or later, will dismantle everything in the same way, only in a much more painful way. So today the question is straightforward. Where in your life are you living a lie? At your work? At your wedding? In your image? In your faith? You don't have to change everything overnight, but you need to stop pretending. You need to recognize the truth that has been trying to reach you in the sleepless nights. Because only when you align with who you really are, does sleep return, peace returns, and life starts to make sense again. You're lying down. Outside everything is calm, the city slows down. Darkness envelops the surroundings, but inside you something remains alert. Your heart races for no reason. Your breathing seems shallow. Your entire body feels like it's in a war zone, but there's no threat. Nothing is happening. So why do you feel like you're being stalked? Jordan Peterson teaches that the human body responds to emotional chaos the same way it would to a real physical threat. When you don't organize your inner world, the nervous system interprets this as external disorder. In other words, it reacts as if you're in danger, even if everything appears calm. This is why nighttime anxiety sets in, because your body has learned to prepare for the worst, even when the worst isn't there. You start living in survival mode. What does this mean? It means your brain is stuck in what we call a hypervigilant state, a state in which it constantly scans the environment and itself for something wrong. It looks for signs that something is going wrong, that something will be lost, that something needs to be fixed immediately. And when this state repeats itself night after night, the body loses its ability to relax because it has been conditioned not to trust rest. This is common in those who carry trauma, emotional wounds, and long-standing unresolved frustrations. The past doesn't stay in the past. It's replayed every night in the dark theater of insomnia. Peterson would say, you can't fool your body. It knows when your soul is in disarray. You can tell yourself that everything is fine, that the day was productive, that there's no reason to be anxious, but your body knows. He feels, and what he feels is the accumulation of emotional neglect, the lack of coping, the repetition of patterns that, day after day, confirm to his nervous system that the world is unsafe and that he is not in control of his own life. This is the crucial point, the feeling of powerlessness in the face of one's own reality. And impotence, when not understood, turns into anxiety. Anxiety, when left untreated, turns into insomnia. And insomnia, when not treated at its root, becomes chronic suffering. But here's the catch. You can recondition your body to get out of the war state as facing what needs to be faced, saying what needs to be said, organizing your own routine, creating rest rituals, taking control over your own habits, but most importantly, restoring the feeling of inner security, the one that comes when you align your life with truth. Sleep is not just biological, it's symbolic. It is a direct reflection of your relationship with the world and with yourself. Your body needs to relearn that it's okay to shut down. And that will only happen when you stop running away and start healing. There are things you didn't say, words stuck in your throat, boundaries you didn't set, decisions you let others make for you. And every time this happened, you kept quiet on the outside, but on the inside, something started to revolt. This accumulation of silences isn't harmless. It turns into muscle tension, a tightness in the chest, and thoughts that won't stop until night falls. And when you lie down, your body decides to speak for you. It screams. It won't let you rest. Jordan Peterson would say that inaction has a price. Every time you avoid taking a stand, you're allowing chaos to grow. You're allowing disorder to spread until it begins to erode your health and your peace. Insomnia is often just that, the body's response to what you didn't dare express clearly during the day. External silence turns into internal torment. Maybe you're afraid to confront someone, fear of losing a relationship, fear of being rejected at work, fear of disappointing your family. And then you swallow, accept, endure, pretend. But the truth is, deep down, you are abandoning yourself. And the body does not accept this silent abandonment. He protests. It creates symptoms. It wakes you up in the middle of the night, as if to say, if you don't speak, I will speak for you, but in my own way, through anxiety, through discomfort, through insomnia. This is the hardest way to realize that not taking a stand is also a choice, a costly choice, a choice that silently destroys your life force. Peterson reminds us, you must not sacrifice your truth just to avoid conflict, because the conflict you avoid today will be the collapse that destroys you tomorrow. And that's exactly what happens in the lives of those who don't take a stand. Collapse comes, sometimes in the form of panic attacks, other times in the form of endless sleepless nights, still others in the form of illnesses no one can explain. The question isn't whether you'll pay the price for remaining silent. The question is, how much higher will the price be for continuing to delay your truth? Your symptoms are trying to free you. They're showing you that you need to stop hiding behind fear and start embracing who you are. The body is saying, enough. You can't live to please everyone anymore while you destroy yourself inside. So today, you need to ask yourself, what have you been avoiding saying? What boundaries need to be set? What decisions need to be stated out loud? Maybe it hurts. Maybe it creates conflict. Maybe some people don't understand. But what hurts much more is continuing to be a prisoner of what you never had the courage to express. The cure for insomnia, in this sense, is not just about relaxation, techniques. She has the courage to take a stand, to speak, to place yourself, saying no when it's really no, to say yes when it is yes, to stop mutilating yourself in silence to maintain a false peace. Because true peace only comes when you choose the truth. If this resonates with you in any way, please subscribe and like. This makes this video reach someone who may be desperate right now, and you will have been a part of it. How many times have you felt angry, but kept it in? How many times did you want to scream, but took a deep breath and kept quiet? How many times have you swallowed your indignation, pretending it was nothing, just to keep up the appearance of calm? This anger doesn't go away. It doesn't evaporate. It builds up in layers inside you like hidden embers. And when night falls, when the world falls silent, those embers begin to glow. Insomnia, in many cases, is just that, the fire of unexpressed anger burning inside. Jordan Peterson talks about the need to integrate one's shadow. What he means is that we all carry within us feelings, impulses and forces that we don't always like to admit, but pretending they don't exist doesn't erase them. It just turns them into invisible enemies. And anger is one of those forces. If you don't learn to recognize it and give it a healthy destination, it will turn against you. It will appear as uncontrolled outbursts at inopportune moments, or as insomnia, keeping you awake, remembering everything you didn't have, the courage to say, see, anger itself is not the villain. She is a warning. It's how your body and psyche alert you that something isn't right, that a limit has been crossed, that you need to protect yourself or reposition yourself. The problem isn't feeling anger. The problem is repressing it until it turns into poison. And what is insomnia if not a body poisoned by swallowed words? You lie down and suddenly you start revisiting situations, old discussions, unanswered insults, moments when you were wronged and didn't react. Every detail reappears in your mind, as if it were a nighttime courtroom in which you finally defend yourself, but only inside your head. Meanwhile, sleep moves further and further away. Peterson would say that an authentic life requires the courage to confront, and confrontation includes learning to deal with anger without repressing it or drowning in it. Transform anger into action, into clarity, into firm words, into real positioning. But what do most people do? Swallow, repress, accumulate, until at some point the body starts screaming. And insomnia is one of those screams. So if you're having endless sleepless nights, maybe it's time to ask yourself, what anger am I running from? What indignation am I hiding even from myself? You don't have to explode. You don't have to become aggressive. You don't have to hurt anyone. But you do need to recognize this inner fire and use it as energy to change what needs to be changed. Repressed anger is like a flame trapped inside a box. Sooner or later it bursts the lid. And when that happens, you either explode against others or implode against yourself. Insomnia is implosion. It's the silent price of never having the courage to put your voice out there. So today, make a pact with yourself. Stop burying your anger. Give her a destiny. Talk. Write. Confront. Say what needs to be said. Don't let it keep burning you inside every night. Because when you learn to manage your anger consciously, it stops being poison and becomes strength. And strength brings peace. And I'm crazy. Traz. Waking up anxious, spending the day hectic, and going to bed unable to switch off your mind. This is the picture of a life without direction. Have you ever noticed how anxiety increases precisely at times when your routine is chaotic, your habits are disorganized, and your life seems to be happening on autopilot? This is no coincidence. It is the law of internal disorder reflected in the body. Jordan. Peterson insists on something fundamental. Get your house in order. And here, home doesn't just mean the room you live in, but the whole of your life. Your responsibilities, your relationships, your values, your routine. When you have no access, any wind can knock you down. An unanswered message turns into despair. A delay at work turns into a catastrophe. Silence in a relationship turns into panic. And all this because, without structure, your mind cannot find rest. Insomnia, in this context, is a reflection of a life without hierarchy. You don't define what is a priority, doesn't organize his tasks, does not establish rest rituals, and the result is that chaos reigns. Peterson would say that living without order is opening the doors to psychological hell, because chaos doesn't disappear, it grows. And at night, when the noise of the outside world subsides, the noise of the inner chaos becomes deafening. Think about it. If your life is a messy room, how do you expect to sleep peacefully in it? Even if you turn off the lights, the mess is still there, and your mind knows it. It's exactly like that with your routine. You can try to pretend that everything isn't out of place, but your psyche notices, and she does not allow rest until there is order. This is the great truth. Anxiety does not arise out of nowhere. It arises from the sum of small negligences accumulated over time. Negligence that creates an invisible weight. And insomnia, in this case, is a warning. Get your life in order. Get it in order. Get back on track. This doesn't mean you need to become perfect, control every detail, or live by rules. It just means you need to take responsibility for steering your own ship. If you don't lead, life takes you wherever it wants. And lack of direction is one of the biggest sources of anxiety. Now, take a deep breath and reflect. What part of your life is out of order today? Your bedroom? Your desk? Your sleep routine? Your diet? Your relationships? Your spirituality? Choose one. Just one. And start putting things in order today. Small daily alignment actions gradually create the foundation of inner security you've been searching for. Anxiety reduces when life gains hierarchy, and sleep returns when you start living coherently, without running away from what really matters. Remember, without an axis, everything is a threat. With an axis, even the biggest challenges become manageable. Chaos won't go away on its own. You need to act. You need to take responsibility for organizing what is in front of you, and when you do, you'll see something amazing happen. The night will no longer be a battlefield, and sleep will return as a well-deserved gift. During the day, you can disguise it, get busy, work, use your cell phone, turn on the TV, race against the clock. But when night falls, the silence leaves no room for escape. It is at this moment that insomnia shows its cruelest face. It is not just the absence of sleep, but the presence of yourself. And that's scary. Jordan Peterson talks about the importance of confronting your own shadow. The silence of the night is exactly that, the inevitable mirror of what you've been trying to hide. You can fool the whole world, but you can't fool yourself in the dark of your room. The silence of the night forces you to look into your soul. And if the soul is burdened with frustrations, resentments, regrets, and unmade decisions, then the night becomes a prison. You close your eyes, but the silence screams. He throws in your face every promise you didn't keep, every dream you abandoned, every lie you told yourself, every relationship in which you nullified yourself, every choice you've put off. The silence of the night has no mercy, because it is not an enemy. He is a calling, a brutal invitation for you to stop deceiving yourself. Peterson often says that life does not forgive a lack of attention to what really matters, and that's exactly what happens when you neglect your soul. The night turns into a silent charge impossible to ignore. You ask yourself, why can't I sleep? And the answer may be, because you cannot live in peace with your own truth. Silence is the court where your conscience judges you. This is where the mask falls, where everything you try to hide from yourself appears in bold letters. But look, this is not just punishment. It is also an opportunity, because insomnia can be a chance to find yourself again. If you have the courage to listen to what the silence is trying to tell you, you can transform your nights into paths of healing. But if you keep running away, they will only be torment. Ask yourself, what is the silence of the night trying to reveal to me? Maybe it's the pain of a life without purpose. Maybe it's the frustration of having abandoned a talent. Maybe it's the anger of never having stood up for yourself. Perhaps it is the urgent need to change course before it is too late. The night is a mirror, and sleep only comes when you stop running away from what the mirror shows. So don't be afraid of silence. Do not fear the truth he brings. Fear, yes, living a whole life without ever having the courage to listen to your own soul. The silence of the night can be your enemy or your master. The choice is yours. If this resonates with you in any way, please subscribe and like. This makes this video reach someone who may be desperate right now, and you will have been a part of it. Have you ever noticed that insomnia never comes for nothing? She always appears as a messenger, an uncomfortable but necessary warning. Something in you needs to change. You tried to ignore it. He tried to distract himself. He tried taking medication, using techniques, looking for shortcuts. But the body insists, the mind insists, the soul insists, and the message is clear. The beginning of healing is facing what you avoid. Jordan Peterson constantly reminds us that running away from chaos doesn't eliminate it. It only strengthens it. If you don't have the courage to organize your own life, the chaos will become greater and greater until you finally have to face it. Insomnia is precisely this call. She says, you can't live like this anymore. You can't lie to yourself anymore. You can no longer carry a weight that is not yours. You need to look at what you are trying to hide. And as painful as it may seem, this is a blessing in disguise, because insomnia is showing you the path you need to follow. She is pointing out the areas of your life that require truth, courage, and action. Think, how many times have you woken up in the middle of the night with your heart racing, thinking you were going to go crazy? How many times have you thought, I can't take it anymore? How many times have you just wanted to turn off your mind and rest? And yet you are here, still alive, still breathing, still with the chance to change. Peterson argues that life is inevitable suffering, but that there is something deeper than suffering, the human capacity to make sense of it. And that's what you need to do now. Face your pain, face your truth, facing what you have avoided for too long. Maybe it's the need to forgive someone. Maybe it's the courage to change jobs. Maybe it's embracing your calling. Maybe it's simply learning to say no. Whatever your truth is, it needs to be looked in the eye, because that's the only way the weight dissolves. This is the only way the body relaxes. That's the only way sleep comes back. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait until you feel ready. Don't wait for the fear to go away. The first step is small, but real. It's writing about what hurts. It's saying out loud what you've never said. It is to seek help if necessary. It's admitting, I can't live the way I'm living anymore. This is the turning point. This is the beginning of healing. Remember, insomnia is not your enemy. She is a reflection, a mirror that shows the urgency of change. And if you have the courage to listen to its message, you will discover that it did not come to destroy you, but to rebuild you. You don't have to continue being a slave to anxiety. You can turn it into a guide. It could be the sign that it's time to finally take control of your life. Sleep returns when the truth is accepted. Peace comes when chaos is faced. And freedom begins when you stop running. The beginning of healing is now, and it's up to you. If this resonates with you in any way, please subscribe and like. This makes this video reach someone who may be desperate right now, and you will have been a part of it.